Hello everybody, welcome back to another Mystic Islands video. I know I haven't done one in like a month, so I'm really sorry about that, but we are back and we are still working on set 3, which had a few changes recently. But today we're going to be going over the Deadly Greed deck. I know I failed to do this, apparently. Forgot about that. I did the other 2 starter decks, but this is the one I missed. So we can take a quick look at the box here. So this is going to contain Pirate Faction and Skeleton Faction cards for set 2, War of the Amulet. And you got right there Soul Transfer on the front, which looks pretty sweet, I think. 36 card starter deck. We have the deck list on the back here in order of the card number. And then right here is a QR code where if you scan it with your phone, it'll actually take you right to the YouTube channel, so that's pretty cool. And then you got the War of the Amulet symbol on the back, or the bottom, sorry. But yeah, so here's that. Let me show you all the cards inside. That's what's important. Alright, we're going to start with the cards that have multiple copies first. So right here you get Solo Drunken Sailor. You actually get 2 copies of this bad boy. When this creature is casted, you lose 2 health, which is unfortunate, but he is untapped. And he only costs 1, 2 attack, 1 defense, so he's a very valuable option for any pirate deck pretty much. If you just want to get quick damage, and he's very useful because you can play him quickly and he will be ready to attack as soon as you cast him. So you could use him to attack around creatures, attack a creature with just 2 defense that your opponent's trying to kill your creature with. Super versatile and just very quick. You're going to get 2 copies of Undead Mummy Spaz as well. This is another reprint from set 1, but you may cast this creature for 2 Chaos Crystals if a Skeleton Faction creature entered the graveyard this turn. It's pretty solid. I mean, playing a 4 attack, 2 defense for 2, just for your guy dying, is very useful. It does have to be that turn though. So yeah, he could be a very good creature for you as well. Fans seem to like this one, Avarice Stone, a new card for set 2 right here. You get 2 copies, it's going to cost 1, draw 2 cards, lose 1 health. Pretty easy to understand, and you're basically trading a card and 1 health for 2 cards, so it's pretty useful in most situations, and the artwork, I love it. You get 2 copies of Soul Transfer, which is the guy on the box, as you can see. This is it's a decently expensive ability card, but it is pretty cool. Sacrifice target creature you control, then cast target Skeleton Faction creature from your graveyard for free this turn. That creature enters tapped, and the controller of this creature loses 1 health. So essentially you're sacrificing a creature you control and 1 health to cast probably, I'm assuming, a stronger creature that had died on your battlefield before. So that could be very useful if you're trying to get your big guys back. Traveler's Fortune is another one of those pirate cards that just draws you more cards. So it costs 2, draw 3 cards, discard 1. Pretty simple. Pretty straight to the point, but it doesn't hurt to have more cards in your hand. You're going to get 2 copies of Undead Buccaneer as well. 1 attack, 3 defense for 2. Just a solid creature, definitely a defensive creature. Nothing really special here. It doesn't have a special skill or anything like that, but good nonetheless. Here's a new card people have been hyped about. Cannon Shot, cost 1. Target caster takes 3 damage. That caster also adds a crystal to their stash. This could be very useful, especially because it is a common, so you can run 4 copies of it. You only get 2 in the starter deck though, but it's basically just a burn spell, I guess. Take 3 damage. They do get a crystal, but only after you dealt the damage, so that'll work out for you. Inept Troop is a little complicated. Cost 1, 1 attack, 1 defense. While active, which means he's alive on your battlefield and it's your turn, if you have another Inept Troop in your hand, you may free play it untapped this turn, then kill this creature. So let's say you have an Inept Troop. Honestly, you can cast it that turn. If you have another one in your hand, because it's your turn, this creature's alive, you can replace it with an Inept Troop. So throw this one in the graveyard, and then cast this one untapped for free this turn. You get 2 copies of Privateer as well. Cost 1, cost 2, 1 attack, 2 defense. When casted, draw a card. If it's a Privateer, reveal it and add a crystal to your stash. So everyone will know you have another one, but you get a crystal, so it's pretty worth it. I mean, I don't think you would mind letting them know. 2 copies of Clumsy Bones. 1 attack, 4 defense, which is very good for a 1 cost, but he has the downside of decay, which means he permanently loses 1 defense every single turn on the battlefield. So my turn he loses 1, your turn loses 1, my turn loses 1, your turn loses 1, he's dead. That's pretty much how that works. Why? It's for a creature coming up later. So yeah, he's decently solid. You're going to get 2 Trustworthy Crewmen, and this creature is actually solid for not having a skill. 4 attack, 3 defense for 3. It's just a stronger creature for 3. Instead of it being a 3/3, it's a 4/3, so can't really complain there. It's just pretty good. Of course, with the starter deck, you're going to get 2 Forbidden Spells. This is in case you need any way to get rid of ability cards that your opponents are casting on you. It will give no effect to that ability card this turn, and it is destroyed. So it will just get rid of it and it won't do anything. So definitely useful to have. If you don't run them, just expect your opponent to eventually find that out and cast everything on you. So we're down to 1 copies now. We get a Lost Boneman, 1 attack, 1 defense with no skill. Pretty boring, but his artwork is very nice. Pioneer is almost the same thing, except when casted he lets you draw a card, so he's actually pretty solid. We like him as well. Get 1 copy of Skeleton Arrowist. I know a lot of Skeleton faction fans love this card. When it dies, you get a crystal added to your stash, and it's solid stats too, 3 attack, 1 defense. Very good. One of the amulets that comes in the starter deck is Amulet of Greed, costs 3. Draw up to 7 cards. You get to choose from 1 to 7, or 0 I guess, and you lose 1 health for every card you drew. Now be careful with this card because there is that new rule added recently where you can only have 10 cards in your hand. So if you have more than 10, you have to banish back down to the number 10. So if you're going to draw 7 here and you already have 5 in your hand, you're going to have to get rid of at least 2 cards. So just be wary about that, but this could help if your opponent is really messing up your hand and you just need to get, a new hand. Grasp from the Grave is one of my new favorite cards. I have a lot of favorite cards though, but it is a skeleton ability, costs 3, put a -1 attack, -1 defense counter on all tapped creatures on the battlefield this turn only. This is very good if your opponent is running Blood Drunk, or a variation of Blood Drunk where they just throw a lot of mini creatures at you with very weak defense. And if they are being very aggressive, those creatures are going to be tapped very often, which is going to allow you to grasp them from the grave and take them down. Amulet of Possession, cost 8. This is the most expensive ability card in the game. All creatures on the battlefield are killed and enter their respected graveyards. Each caster gets chaos crystals placed in their stash equal to the combined worth of their own creatures that died this turn. And the turn ends after you cast this. So, your opponent has a bunch of creatures, you don't really have any. You cast this, it will destroy all creatures on the battlefield no matter what. They will get crystals back equal to the worth of all of their creatures that died. If it is more than 15, they can only have 15 crystals at a time. So they're getting a lot of crystals, but you could cap them off at 15 there. Odds are if you play this, it's going to have to be late game and very desperate, but it could do the trick. I've pulled it off maybe once or twice. Skeleton Enforcer seems kind of useless from first impression because it only has 1 defense and it has to attack every turn, so it can be killed very easily. But the fact that it has 6 attack, untapped, and has to attack every turn is just crazy. It could take out your opponent's big creature. If they don't see it coming, they leave them up for defense. Or if you have creature advantage, sometimes you can attack around certain creatures and get 6 damage in an extra turn. That could very much swing the game. So this guy is very solid and honestly one of the most loved skeleton cards so far. Mermaid's Seduction, costs 3. You attach this to a target creature. Once this ability has been attached to the same creature for 3 rounds, that creature is killed, and the owner of Mermaid's Seduction adds a crystal to their stash. If the creature that this ability is attached to dies, destroy this ability as well. So, attach this to a creature. After 3 rounds, you can keep a dice on it, or whatever you have to do. If it stays for 3 rounds, it's going to die. This goes in the graveyard, of course, but you're going to get a Chaos Crystal back, and you get to kill their creature. If you kill the creature before this goes off, this just goes away. And then if your opponent forbidden spells this or negates this in any way, it just goes away. Then creature is fine. So you got to be careful with this and protect it, but it could take down your opponent's big creature. It's happened many times. We got Age Skeleton Soldier. Remember how I said Clumsy Bones would become useful later on? So it's basically for this guy, X attack, X defense. And you're wondering, what does that mean? Well, if you read his text here, this creature's attack and defense are equal to the amount of skeleton faction creatures in your graveyard with a limit of 7. So if you have 7 skeleton faction creatures in your graveyard, he is a 7 attack, 7 defense, 4/5. Great value. If you have 4, he's a 4/4. If he's 3, you have 3/3. Now the cool thing is, if you cast him early and he's a 2/2 or 3/3 or whatever, If another skeleton enters the graveyard, that's going to bump him up until he reaches 7. So that's a cool thing, but be careful playing him early because your opponent could take him out with removal. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. We're gonna get Precious Gems. So obviously pirates like to draw cards, so Precious Gems allows us to have a permanent ability card on the battlefield till it's destroyed, that every time you draw a card, you gain 1 health. You're also gonna get Stolen Chalice, one of the most valuable rares so far. It's very simple, but it just helps you get more crystals, and that's never a bad thing. Cost 1, add 2 crystals to your stash this turn. Cast 1 for this, get 2 back. You basically +1 in crystals for the turn. And if your opponent negates it, cool, but they wasted crystals on this, I guess, so it's really not a bad thing to play ever. And the final card in the starter deck is Reborn Reaper. This might be the most touted skeleton faction card to ever release. 5 attack, 4 defense. It's a little underpowered for a 5 cost, but its skill makes up for it completely. First of all, it has Obstruct, so if you hit it for 100 damage, it can only take 4 of it, so the extra 96 damage would hit you normally. But he is Obstruct, so he obstructs all that damage and it goes nowhere. So that's very useful. And then as long as this creature is active, which is on your turn alive, once per turn, you may cast the top skeleton faction creature in your graveyard for 1 less of its original Chaos Crystal cost. This is absolutely awesome, especially if you have a 1 cost skeleton that's untapped in your graveyard. That's something we were experimenting with. You can just cast it for free. If it dies again, you just cast it next turn. This is such a good card for the skeleton faction, and it really elevated them. If you guys think this is a little too overpowered, let me know, but I feel like it's pretty healthy in the meta right now. I feel like the meta is pretty good, and there's a lot of variety, so you guys can let me know what you think about all these cards. Obviously, it is a good amount of cards, 36 card starter deck. It is ready to play as soon as you buy the Chaos Crystal pack as well. You need your crystals to go with your deck, but after that, you are scot-free. So thank you guys so much for watching. The Deadly Greed deck is still available on the Game Crafter. First link in the description. And guys, I would also like to say that Mystic Madness is still going on. I know I said it was only going to be for March, but I extended it. And the amount of likes that I have on this video by tomorrow at 1 p.m. will be how many more days Mystic Madness is going to be open for you guys. And then it is going down. And I might have a special later in the year. Let me know if you guys want that. But for now, it will be gone. So that's the only time you can get your foil cards. So get them now while you can. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace.